Hi and welcome back. I'm Holly and you're watching 𝐊𝐿𝐴 TV live from Sydney. This is the stocks in action. Let's get ready to take a glimpse through developments across equity and commodity markets and look at stocks under the spotlight today. First up, we'll start with the ASX 200 performance. While the Australian share market opened higher a day after the Reserve Bank of Australia took its first step towards tapering its massive stimulus program. The country's central bank said it would decrease the pace of its bond buying campaign from September, but also affirmed at a rate hike it's not on the cards until 2024. On Tuesday, the benchmark index fell 0.73%, and at around 11 a.m. the S&P ASX 200 is up 24.30 points or 0.33%, despite crossing below its 20-day moving average. Challenger Limited is up 12.25% and Nuix is up 5.11. 6 of 11 sectors are higher along with the S&P ASX 200 index. Healthcare is the best performing sector while the energy sector is trading in the red. On that note, let's quickly glance through some global developments and its effect on the global market movements. On Tuesday, global equity markets traded lower after some indices showed the first sign of weakness since the last few days. In addition, China's latest tech crackdown, tumbling bond yields, lower crude oil prices, and rising expectations of a hawkish Fed report due to be out on Wednesday waved red flags for investors. On Wednesday, market participants would focus on minutes from the US Fed's Federal Open Market Committee. Investors expect the committee to confirm a hawkish or anti-inflation tilt that could reverse losses from Tuesday's session. On Wall Street, at the Tuesday closing, the Dow Jones was 0.6% down, while the broader market index, the S&P 500, was down 0.2%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite registered a gain of 0.17% as well. Stocks of several Chinese companies fell sharply after regulators in Beijing launched cybersecurity probes into several prominent firms, including DiDi Global, Boss Zipin, and Full Truck Alliance. Chinese ride-hailing company DiDi Global Incorporated's share price tumbled over 20% in a day after Chinese authorities ordered DiDi's app to be taken down. That is days after its US $4.4 billion listing on the New York Stock Exchange. On Tuesday, the US Treasury yield traded lower with the benchmark 10-year note yield marking its longest losing streak in 16 months as market participants look for clues on the Fed's policy path. The yield on 10-year Treasury notes was down 6.4 basis points, hitting its lowest since the 24th of February, declining for the 6th straight session. The US dollar gained on Tuesday following the US Independence Day long weekend, as investors positioned themselves ahead of the release of minutes from the Fed's June meeting. At 3 p.m. Eastern Time, the US dollar index was up 0.328%, and the Aussie dollar fell 0.42% as the RBA ended its July 2021 policy meeting by keeping interest rates intact at 0.1%. On Tuesday, Bitcoin traded almost flat with a minor gain of 0.41%, while its peers Dogecoin was down 0.43%, and Ether was up 4.27%. Onto the commodities. On Tuesday, gold prices notched higher, bouncing above an important level. A retreat in the US bond yields had bolstered the demand for the yellow metal while investors watched for minutes from the Fed's last policy meeting to gauge the interest rate path. Spot gold rose 0.2% after jumping to its highest level since the 17th of June. The US gold futures closed the session 0.6% higher as well. And the global market commodities also witnessed Chinese steel futures on the rise on the back of higher raw material prices, although slowing auto sales and construction activities capped the gains. The iron ore futures for September month delivery on the Dalian Commodity Exchange closed the session 2.8% higher. Commodity prices pulled back from the rally on Tuesday after US dollar rebounded on oil prices, which slid from higher levels. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange fell 2.5% after hitting its highest since the 16th of June. And lastly, on the global development front, crude oil retraced from higher levels after the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and Allies, known as OPEC, cancelled a meeting due to clashes over plans to increase production to meet rising global demand. This included the United Arab Emirates rejecting an 8-month extension to output curbs. As of the 7th of July, September delivery crude oil futures traded 0.07% down, whereas August delivery WTI crude oil futures traded 0.48% up. Some analysts also believe that the high oil prices could allow US producers to pump more oil into the market. Till now, no further date for discussion has been announced. And now it is time for a short break, but stay tuned and I'll be right back with more trending updates for the Australian market.
Property by 𝐊𝐴𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞. Looking for a dream home? Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest lowdown on the property market, tune in on 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision. Keep watching Property with 𝐊𝐴𝐚.
Welcome back. I'm your host Holly, live from 𝐊𝐴𝐚 Studio, and you're watching the Stocks in Action. Let's have a look now at a few recent updates from the ASX listed companies. Starting with the first news coming to us from mydeal.com.au, which is trading in green. mydeal.com.au is an online retail marketplace for home and lifestyle products, provided an update ahead of the company's FY21 fourth quarterly report. The unaudited results for this year show MyDeal has delivered record gross sales of $218.1 million, up 111.1% on the prior year. The gross sales were driven by continued growth in active customers, which reached a new record of 894,000 on the 30th of June, growing in excess of 83.1% on the prior year. The private label also made a strong first-year contribution to gross sales for the year after soft launching date in last year. And the next news comes to us from cover of Woodside Petroleum, an Australian petroleum exploration and production company. Trading in red, Woodside Petroleum has completed its acquisition of FAR's interest in the Refisk Offshore, Sangomar Offshore and Sangomar Deep Offshore joint venture. The completion payment to FAR after adjusted and remunifying defaults was approximately $126 million. Post-acquisition, WPL's interest in the joint venture has gone up to 82% for Sangomar exploitation area and 90% in the remaining area. Moving on to the next news, trading in green, Telstra Corp, Australia's largest mobile network, is refunding more than $25 million to almost 50,000 customers on underperforming internet plans. The Australian Telecommunications and Media Authority, founded between September 18 and October 2020, that Telstra failed to notify up to 49,000 customers across Australia, and the speeds advertised in their internet plans were unattainable due to the NBN infrastructure in their areas. Telstra has also been issued a direction to remedy the situation and faces further penalties if it doesn't. Next up, 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 Limited, an innovative medical technology company, is trading in green after reporting today that its non-invasive ultrasonic cardiac output monitor, 𝐊𝐚𝐥1A, has received registration certification for sale in the Russian market. The regulatory process is usually of 12 to 18 months, but for UCM it took approximately 3 years following delays due to the COVID pandemic. 𝐊𝐚𝐥, closely with its Russian distributor Wondermed, worked to successfully manage this appointed former 𝐕𝐢𝐝 Medical for its excellent vocal connections in critical care and pediatrics. And the last news to be discussed in this session is Australian real estate investment trust HomeCo Daily Needs REIT. Trading in green, HomeCo Daily Needs REIT announced the successful completion of its fully underwritten institutional placement that the company announced on the 5th of July, raising approximately $70 million. The firm has issued approximately 48.3 million ordinary shares at an issue price of $1.45 per unit. The proceeds from the placement will be used to fund the acquisition and associated transaction costs of a 100% interest in the town centre Victoria Point. Alright then, that is just about all for now, but stay tuned with 𝐊𝐴𝐚 TV for more live market updates. We'll be back with more news on the markets, economy and diverse themes and sectors. Holly Shields signing off.